Hey, we're excited to have you back for another episode of Walk-Ins Welcome. My name is Nick Horde. I've got Michael Ray with me today. And as always, we are here to help you triple your revenue through digital marketing services, exceptional patient experience, and sometimes good signage.
Yeah, sometimes really good signage. Like that's something we don't get a whole lot to talk about because we're so far in the digital world.
Right.
But we actually have today Stephanie Smith with Reliable Signs on our call today. Full disclosure, she is a client as well, so we've known her for quite some time, but she has been Reliable for over 10 years, and Reliable is a signage company based out of the Birmingham, Alabama area. They cover the entire Southeast in terms of installs, but they've been doing this now for almost 28 years, so they definitely got the experience. Glad to have you on today, Stephanie.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so I always ask this question when we have guests on. Tell us one thing about you that nobody knows.
Always slipping in, right?
I do. Got to.
Oh, wow.
Uh-oh.
Okay, stumping me right from the start.
There you go.
Coming after you.
I will say one thing a lot of people probably don't know about me is that I'm a really big NASCAR fan.
Yes.
Oh, come on.
That's fantastic.
I didn't see that coming, Stephanie. You're quiet.
That's what a lot of people say.
You are like reserved. Like it doesn't match up.
Who's your driver?
Yeah, who's your
I was gonna
driver?
say.
Well, I hate to say it this year. Brad Keselowski is one of my favorite drivers. He is a driver owner. This is his first year as a driver owner, so I think he's trying to figure out the best of both worlds there. So it's not exactly been a banner year for him, but he's a good guy. I like to pull for him. And Chase Elliott, everybody likes Chase Elliott, so I would say probably those two.
Nice. Honestly, I know nothing about NASCAR, but the fact that you're a driver owner, that just sounds terrifying.
So I've got to ask the question. We'll see if it makes my point on where we're going in this podcast. Your favorite driver, Keselowski, is that what you said?
Yes.
Okay, good. I nailed it. Who's the title sponsor of his car?
Oh, Kohler.
Okay, Kohler. And you know that why?
Yes.
How do you know that?
Well, okay, so
That's a leading question.
he used to have a beer sponsor, and so I didn't really care for that. And so I really noticed when his sponsorship changed, and I noticed that because his name is everywhere.
Okay,
Exactly.
The sponsor's name is everywhere.
Okay, this is where I was going with
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
This is where I was going with this. This is the whole setup for you, Stephanie.
Go ahead and
Yes.
rename the episode NASCAR Signage
That's
as
right.
best.
No. There is something to be said about visibility
Yes.
in a brand. And the best way to promote your own brand right where you are is to do what? Put a big old sign up.
Yep. Can't miss it.
Exactly. Yeah.
That to me, I wouldn't even say outside. I would say it's as or even more important than anything we do is to make sure that you are visible where you are.
Yes.
Yes.
Exactly.
They have to know where to find you to get in the door.
That's right.
Exactly.
And it needs to look good. I've got that thought process of what did I say earlier? A bad sign is a sign of bad business,
Yeah. It's pretty good.
right?
I like it.
That's good. I like that.
Hey, I'm here all day.
So Stephanie, tell us some more about Reliable itself. Like, what kind of signs do you guys build? What's your bread and butter?
Okay.
Tell us more.
Yeah, so we've been around for a long time, like you said. So we have some very experienced sign manufacturers that work here. We've been open for 28 years. We have built all kinds of signs is what I tell people. We are a custom shop, so we do anything from, the vehicle vinyl on your door, on your car, to a big, huge digital sign in front of your building, letters on your building, interior signs, anything like that. That's what we can cover.
So pretty much anything that's physical, right? Like you can touch it and feel it.
Right.
It's not printed on not printed on a piece of paper per se, but
Vinyl.
Yeah, vinyl, right? But it's
Vinyl.
it's when we drive by all of these stores and we see that big sign above their door, or that's neon, or it's backlit, or I think dimensional letters and things like that. So basically, it's that piece of sign that we all interact with, that we kind of rely on, to be honest. in sense.
If you're driving down the interstate and you're on vacation, when you see that big old Pilot or you see that big old McDonald's sign or whatever, like that is advertising.
Yep. Oh yeah.
That is branding, advertising, marketing. Like this is all tied up in that one sign.
Yep, exactly. And so, part of the reason why we wanted to bring you on is like digital marketing is super important, but reality is if we honestly, we should add this to our intake. Do you have a physical sign on your building? Because if you don't, we're going to kind of lose a little bit because people don't know where you are when they try to find you.
That's right.
So that's a real thing.
Yeah.
Well, in the patient care space, it's critical, right?
Yeah.
So, Stephanie, you've got a lot of experience working with, of course, different types of, prototypes of companies and stuff like that. But how important is it for the medical practices to have their signage looking amazing? To talk a little bit about some of the projects you've worked on in the medical space.
Oh yeah, so we've worked with many different medical offices all over the state of Alabama and some into Georgia as well. Especially if you have an urgent care facility, people who are in an emergency type situation, or it's nighttime, they really need to be able to find you. They need to know what door they need to go in and that you're open and that they're in the right place. And so that's kind of what our team is very good at, having all the experience that we have with medical offices is that, we're going to kind of get them there to your building by, a freestanding sign or a sign on the building. And then once they're in, we do signs above like the reception area or the check-in area. And then we can also do some of the smaller signs inside of a doctor's office, for example, where it's, exam room this way, lab this way, x-ray this way. It's kind of the internal directional signs. We do those as well.
And it's a critical component of it.
I'm about to say, I would be frustrated if I walked down a hallway, didn't know where I was going.
Right. Exam room 1. More importantly, how do I get out of here?
Yeah. Because
the doctor's like, go down to the end of the hall, take a left, take a right, and all these different kinds of things. And you're like, give me a sign. I need to know.
And it needs to be branded to them too. Like it doesn't don't have to be generic. Let's make it look correct. So.
Right. And we even make the signs. We don't physically make them here, but we can help you get what they're called ADA signs. So they have Braille on the outside as well.
Okay.
And that's very important for hospitals, especially that they have a sign that can serve many different types of people.
You want to hear something funny? I was in a car one time, and the horn had Braille on it. Just want y'all to know that was a thing one time. Sorry.
Well,
I'm like, what are you doing here?
Like, I don't think you should be driving. You can't see.
Why are you over here with the horn? What's going on?
That's kind of.
I was fascinated by it. It was in a geoprism or something.
Oh, that's
funny. It was hilarious.
Well, and I remember. I know like ATMs and stuff have Braille. That's pretty commonplace. And you think about how. Well, they can't see what the screen says, but then it has to talk to you.
It talks to you. You hit the ADA button.
Yeah, and it does all sorts of stuff. But yeah, I mean, so
if you haven't noticed, I will derail a conversation as soon as I possibly
Let's get real serious about some ADA and Braille. Let me guys tell me about this horn.
I know, right? So I think everybody has a pretty clear grasp on outdoor signage, but I think I've seen some cool uses that you guys have done where it looks one way during the day and it looks completely different at night. Yeah. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, so there is a specific type of vinyl that you can have to where we put on the lighted letters where it is, say it looks black during the day, and then when it comes on, it turns white.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, it's super cool.
So we have that, and then we have like reverse lit letters where during the day, they just kind of look like your standard lighted letters on the building. And when they come on at night, the light shines from behind them. So you get kind of this glowing type effect or halo effect, reverse lit. And signs have multiple names. Our owner says it's kind of like Mexican food. It's all the same ingredients. It's just all called something different. So that's kind of how
it all goes down the same conveyor belt. That one tortilla has been made into 30 different items.
Or like Subway, how many ways can you make a sandwich?
That's right.
Yeah, so it's all the same components. It's just like we can turn them into many different things. So,
nice.
Yeah, that would be how I would answer that question. So.
What's popular right now?
Popular right now is we kind of seen a trend in signs that are on they're lighted letters, but normally lighted letters, which we in the industry call channel letters, because they're on this box like a channel that attaches to the wall.
Yep.
A lot of customers like the look where they're not attached to a wall, but they're attached to some sort of panel. And this panel might be a colored, maybe a different color than the letters, but it attaches to the wall. So it kind of gives the sign another dimension.
Oh, yeah.
And looks really nice. We have some examples of signs like that on our website, and we've done a lot of those. A particular store that we do a lot of signs for, that's kind of the look that they're going for right now.
I've seen some trends, correct me if I'm wrong, but especially in the medical space, I'll call it higher end medical, kind of forward thinking, dentist office, stuff like that, where they have static letters and then they're just putting a light on, like a spotlight on them. Have you seen some of that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So,
a lot of places like that, especially if they're in a residential area.
right.
Sometimes the neighborhood association, or if they're in a historic district, they might not allow a lighted sign where it's internally lighted, but they would allow a light to shine on it. Certain cities really love that look. But yeah, and it
Everything
does,
in Mountain Brook, right?
Oh, well, yeah, you said it.
Okay, I'll dial it back. Everything in Helena. Yeah.
Yes, if you're in Old Town Helena, you probably are not going to have a internally lighted sign, but you
That's
can shine a light on it. Yeah, so kind of, they're always going for, they want to keep in line with the architecture that's, that's already established there, so that gives that look as well. And yeah, it does make the sign look very modern, and they can pick really script fonts and like a really pretty bronze color, or just something that really matches their building very well. And those do look really nice, the signs like that.
That kind of brings up a thought. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say a lighted sign is always best, because that's constant advertisement for your business.
Good point.
Whether you're open or not, the sign comes on at night and it's there letting people know, hey, this dentist office is here, or this eye doctor just opened up here. Oh, we can check that out. But if your sign's not on, then they don't know what's there.
Or they think it's closed for good.
Yes.
That's the thing too. Like I've driven by some stores that I know are gone and their sign's still there. Still turns on too, which is kind of funny sometimes.
That's right.
Like, somebody's paying that bill. But that kind of brings up a thought. What are some typical do's and don'ts about outdoor signage that people will say, I really want this. And you're like, you really don't want to do this, or you should do this instead? Like just mentioning how you said, hey, you need to verify what your local ordinances are about signage, because that's a thing. And then from like our standpoint for digital, we always say, hey, this is smart, this is not smart to do. So
right.
I'm curious, I'm sure y'all have had all sorts of conversations with people. But what are some common do's and don'ts around the signage world?
Well, I guess the first thing that comes to mind is people who have, say, a very specific name for their business, like maybe it's called Joe's or something, and you're like, well, I don't know what that is. So you have to be careful about what are you wanting to put in lights here? Is it going to even tell what kind of business you have? Because you might get just stuck on, well, I just want my name to be up there. But then if it is not really telling people what you do, then that's not going to make them come in the door either. They're just confused now because they don't know what that is. And so that's something that we always recommend is, we see that a lot with, hair salons, especially, they want to use a very specific name, but It's like, well, that doesn't say that you do hair, So,
Well, it's one of some creative things that I've seen done in that space. For example, barbershops all have that little candy cane pole.
Yeah, there's some commonality there.
And then us
Yes.
being so prevalent in the urgent care space, almost all of them have that giant plus, that cross.
Yeah.
Like the red cross
Yeah.
and whatever color it is. And they light that thing up. And it doesn't matter what you call it. If I see that cross, I know it's going to be an urgent care.
Yep.
right.
I
You
even
know
think
that
about
immediately.
the most common thing I can think about. Any emergency room department doesn't have the name of the hospital it's tied to. It just says emergency.
Emergency.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like just over
bright
here,
red.
emergency,
Yep.
bright red.
Enter here.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's and I think
Yeah,
it
and I
goes,
would say colors as well
Yeah.
are very important too. We have to think about what colors stand out during the day and at night. White's very popular, red's popular, blue. All of these, they look good during the daytime and at night when they're lit.
Pets are patients too. And the reason I say that is some of the most creative signs or creative uses of signage, in my opinion, have been in the vet space, the veterinarian space, with, you have two completely separate entrances, one for cats, one's for
I've seen that,
dogs.
yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And they're all
Yes.
yellow, right? Like it's something about being a
I
vet.
had
They're all yellow.
I had the funniest conversation with a vet about that yellow
Okay.
brick stuff. So she was like, I don't want to do marketing. We've been taught she went to like Auburn University at their vet, because they're really well-known vet school. We've been taught marketing's evil, blah, blah, blah. And I said, well, I got a question. I said, why are all your buildings yellow? She said, well, I've never thought about it. I was like, well, it's because that's marketing.
That
Everybody
is
can identify
marketing.
if it's a yellow brick building, it's a vet office.
That you better believe it. But with that being said, my question to you is, what is some creative uses of signage that you've seen or built for some of your clients?
Oh, wow. I don't know.
Well, let me ask you. I'll ask a
Yeah.
different question then. If you don't have anything, what is the most obnoxious sign you've ever built? How about we make it fun then?
Yeah, there you go. Without giving names.
Yeah, you don't have to give it. Well, you may have to. But I'd love to know. Just like, I can't believe they designed that. I need to know.
Like,
Oh man, you would think those would be more in the forefront of my mind right here, but I don't know. I know there's got to be one that we just are like, oh gosh.
I know in our world, it's always we present a cool idea, and then the client's like, "No, I want this." What does? No, I want this. Okay, we'll do it. We present it back. No, I want this, and then it goes from pretty cool to pretty terrible because the client doesn't get it.
Yeah, it's the thing that you would take your name off of.
Yeah, if you could take your name off of it, you would, just because you don't want to represent the business.
Well, let me tell you, Stephanie, I got to come out and view your facility and hang out with you and eat ice cream.
Yeah,
and
and eat ice cream.
Yeah, and you showed me around your facility, and I was so impressed by the level of detail that your team has, the continuing education on trying to get better every single day in the sign business. You just don't see that, right? The fact that y'all know your products inside and out. I think literally anybody in your office could have taken me on a tour of that facility and they would have known what they were talking about. So kudos to your team on that.
Yeah, and you guys are
Thank
unique in the sense of you do a lot of in-house fabrication. You're not just taking an order and sending off a receipt somewhere and getting it shipped back to you. You have some that you may do, but like you have actual welders and stuff inside your like in your fabrication area building these signs, which is just really cool.
Oh yeah. We are a full service sign company. That's how we market ourselves, and so that means we handle everything from design, the fabrication, the installation, and then later down the road, if you need it, the service. And so we have a very nice facility here. We're located off the side of 59, going toward Tuscaloosa. You've probably seen us. We have a big blue digital
roll
sign
tide.
on the interstate. And of course we built that. And all the lighted letters you see on our website, like I said, we call those channel letters. We build those here. We do have some machines that help with that bending process, but that thankfully is the way that technology has helped our business. But we do have some guys here that know how to bend those letters by hand.
That's
and I've actually seen them do that before, and it's just amazing to me that they can just take this this piece of metal and bend it and make it look like a letter, And so there's some very skilled craftsmen here as well. And a lot of them have learned how to do that here. It's an industry where you don't go to school to learn how to build signs. You might learn how to weld or use hand tools and different things like that you learn outside of here. But a lot of it, it's hands-on. It's a trade. You learn it here. So
nice.
It's really neat.
Well, and I'm curious, we're actually coming up on time already. I told you it goes fast.
It does.
But I'm curious, what's some expectations people should have about ordering an outdoor sign that's custom to their company? Like timelines, general process. What would make your life a lot easier if they had these things ready to go when they talk to you? What's some things there?
Yeah, so I would say if you are in a shopping center, like you lease a space, make sure that you know what type of sign you're allowed to have, and you get your landlord to sign off on that. That helps us. We also go to them and get their permission as well. But I would say look around your shopping center if you're in a shopping center. If everyone's sign is white, you probably can't have a pink one, right? So there's guidelines in place per shopping center. If you want a freestanding sign, know some of the information about right-of-ways and things like that, where it can go, or at least have an idea. But another thing is the time frame of your sign purchase. We always say the time frame starts once you have signed off on the drawing, meaning like you have a drawing showing you exactly what this sign is going to look like once it's installed. You sign off on that, then we go to work. Once you pay your deposit, we go to work. We do permitting. We handle all that for you. That's when the time frame starts, because that's when we really can get to work after we get that approval from the city that you're located in, that the sign is okay and meets all requirements they have. Then we begin building the sign.
Nice.
So plan ahead a little bit on your
Sounds
sign
like
purchase.
it. Sounds like
yeah.
I was like, if I called today, I'm not going to order a sign today.
Well, I want to ask that exact same question, but in a little different way. We deal with a lot of startup urgent cares, or at least new location urgent cares. Let's just say they know they're going to open up on January 1.
Oh, yeah.
When should they have started talking to you?
Probably October.
Okay,
September,
so
October. Yeah.
So 3 to 4 months.
So 3 to 4 months leading into when they actually need the sign, because that's going to be a huge thing for our audience.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially if they're doing they're building a completely new building, right? Because then we get to a situation where, okay, we've got the sign ready, but your building's not ready, so that's why we can't put up the sign. There's nowhere to put it,
Right.
So the timing of all that, and of course, with construction, there can always be delays. But two, like I know with some other urgent cares we've worked with in the past, before they decide where they want to put that urgent care, they look and go talk to the city and see about what kind of signs can they have there. Can they have a freestanding sign, or does it have to be a monument sign, or can it even be a lighted sign? Because all of those can make a difference on whether or not you decide to put your business there.
Yeah, that's true.
That's actually a really good point.
That is, because in urgent care world, visibility is key.
I was telling a story about that not too long ago, where there's one close to my house that's behind
and
grocery store.
then there might be a legit reason why you can't see it, because there's an ordinance they didn't think about asking the city about, and then they got screwed, like, essentially.
Yeah, best way to put it.
I mean, it sounds harsh, but that's okay. That's fantastic, because that is like,
that's really good advice. If you're listening right now, you need to write that down.
Yeah, if you're looking to open a new location, and signage is super important. I don't care how important it is to you, but it is important.
It is if you're an urgent care or medical practice, it's important.
It's important, and you need to verify how good of a sign can you get, because if they don't allow much of anything, it's gonna be very hard. So
there's never a car there at that place.
Yeah, exactly.
You're never there. Go ahead, Stephanie.
These are not always quick answers either from the city.
Sure.
If anyone has ever worked with government on anything, they work on their own time frame. So if you're in a hurry, that may not matter to them. So them giving you an answer over how tall your sign can be or that you can even have one there. I mean, it could take you a few weeks to really get all that sorted out. So like I was saying, other clients we've worked with in the past, they start on that really early, and that really just helps everybody out, because then when we go to do the permit, we already know that this has sort of been pre-approved, and that makes that process go through a whole lot faster. And then that means we can get the sign into production sooner and, you know, have your sign up before you're open and get you some advertising before you're even open. That's the goal, is that you're not waiting on us. So
I can't even imagine that y'all go through a process and like, yeah, this is the design. This is what we're going to do. We're going to get started. And you go pull permits and they said, you're not allowed to do that at all.
Right.
That's the, like, I can't imagine that conversation of, well, we wanted this, but we cannot have this. So,
well, and that's why in our sales process, we do begin doing some permitting research before we start talking about design ideas. We don't want to get anybody's hopes up and show them something they're not going to be allowed to have. So that is part of the service that we offer, where we do a little bit of homework up front to help you out. And so they know ahead of time that, hey, you know, I'm buying this building, but it just happens that where it's located, it has to be a monument sign, or it has to be a sign on the ground, and it can't be lighted, but I can shine a light on it, you know. At least you know all that going in, and that helps. That just helps everybody. So
nice. Well, very good. Anything else you want to add, Nick? Because we're over time.
Yeah. So the last thing that I want to say is you guys just launched a beautiful new website. And the reason I bring that up is because y'all have so much images and designs and different things that y'all have done, and you've categorized them to where it's basically searchable on what type of sign, what type of business. I tell us.
There's only 838 images on there. I wouldn't know that at all.
Wouldn't know that at all.
And you know them all, don't you?
I do, and it's like when I open up the media gallery, and like, this is going to take a minute,
right?
But yeah, it's kind of funny. But no, the layer, the depth of knowledge that you guys have and experience, like it's showcased super well on that site, because there's any type of sign you could ever think of is on that site.
Well, if I said nothing else, Stephanie, there's 830 something photos of signs that you've done.
Yeah, right.
That's 838 that you chose from.
Yeah,
of
that
signs that you've built.
Mm-hmm.
There's experience, layers of it. How can they find that website?
It's reliablesigns.com.
About as easy as it gets, right?
Easy. Stephanie, has been a
We try to make things easy.
There you go.
Yeah, you guys are awesome at that. And we've had such a good time talking with you today. Thank you for being a guest on our podcast. And I think there's going to be some opportunity in the future to have you back.
Oh, absolutely.
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right. Y'all have a great week. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you on the next episode.